fine.
So I guess he sort of stayed true to his word, like not a completely free off day, but you said it yesterday. Hey, there's a time crunch on this, or a time limit, I should say, and they had pushed their limits yesterday, which made today's availability, I guess, very, very short.
Yeah, very short availability, and that's kind of what we expected today. It's actually surprising they were even out there. But Sean wanted to see a little bit more, and that's fine. It's Sean's call. He also canceled the week OTAs. So this is kind of, I don't know, not necessarily making up for that, but just sending that message. Probably another, type of meeting where he just said, hey, stay out of trouble. Now we're in the time where I don't really want to hear about any of these Denver Broncos. I don't want to see anybody on a boat. I don't want to see any sort of, none of that. If you happen to have a vacation photo, the quarterbacks and their wives and whatever, okay, that's fine.
We'll get photos from like the passing camp or whatever that is.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Do all that. Don't get in trouble. Nobody get arrested. Everyone stay healthy. And then get ready to go for training camp. It is on. And if the Broncos are a Super Bowl contender, we should be able to see it out at training camp. And then that first month of the season, and then Cincinnati, Philadelphia, those two games specifically, we're going to know how much work this team has done and has left to do.
Yeah, I can't wait to get out there for training camp. That's when you and I are going to get full eyeballs on it. We'll be broadcasting live from Broncos Park, powered by Common Spirit. And I know you go, well, it's the end of July. Well, that's going to be here sooner rather than later. And then we'll get to put our full eyeballs on what this offense looks like, who JK Dobbins can be for the Denver Broncos. One of the things that JK said yesterday as he met the media for the first time, he talked about the decision he made to join the Denver Broncos.
I felt like it was the best fit for me. The defense is really good, like super good. Quarterback's amazing. I like the RB room. O-line is amazing as well. So it was a no-brainer. And Coach Sean Payton and all the other coaches on staff too. So I know I'll get coached well here. And I also heard that it's a good fan base. So that's why I'm here.
All right, so he just lists 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things as to why he's here. Started with the defense, went to the quarterback, the running back room, the offensive line, the coach, and the fan base. If we were to compare those things that he just listed off with his other option that is the Los Angeles Chargers, Broncos defense, better.
Yeah.
What about quarterback? I don't think it's fair to call Bo Nix better than Justin Herbert right now.
Right.
But I think they're both, the ceilings of both are equal.
Herbert's never going to reach it, though.
Because he's stuck there?
Because he has Jim Harbaugh. Like, let's run it 45 times. Yeah. Yeah. So,
I can't say that Bo's better than Justin Herbert today.
I can't say that either, but I also can't say that Bo's upside is the same as Herbert's.
Okay.
Herbert might have more upside, but he's never going to reach it.
Yeah.
Bo might have lower upside, and he's going to maximize it because Sean Payton wants to throw the ball. So, interesting.
Okay. Running back room. This is a fun one, too. What's better there, the running back room with the Broncos or the running back room with the Chargers?
Well, now or then. Because last year it was Gus Edwards and it was him. So.
Well, now it's, Hampton and the Steelers guy?
Najee Harris. Yeah.
What's better, JK Dobbins or RJ Harvey? RJ's so unknown, it's tough to. Well, so is Amari Hampton.
So is Marion, yeah. And Najee's a 4-time 1,000-yard rusher, so their running back room's better.
And I think everybody on the show likes Amari Hampton.
Yeah,
better
enough
than
to say.
RJ
Yeah,
Harvey.
at least he is rookie Javonte Williams. At least.
Offensive line's not even close because
It's the Broncos.
There's not one better than the Broncos.
Yeah.
The head coach. We still giving that nod to Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh?
Sean Payton with offensive football, like actual design and maximizing players. Harbaugh is just old school and he plays it his way. That's why he's limiting. There's a governor, a restrictor plate, whatever you want to say, on the Chargers offense. It's called Jim Harbaugh.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a weirdo.
He is a weirdo.
Allegedly.
I've heard some of his comments. He's a weirdo.
Oh, yeah.
What's the other thing you said that's not a governor?
Restrictor plate, yeah.
I never heard that before.
Either one. You can use either one.
I've always heard
I just didn't know. You're not a car guy, so I didn't know if I said governor, you'd be like, yeah, I didn't vote for that guy or whatever.
Yeah, I know governor, but
okay.
I hadn't heard restrictor plate before.
Okay, yeah.
And then fan base. Clearly the Denver Broncos.
Well, he knew it was a better fan base because he heard him in Los Angeles when Broncos country takes over.
Yeah.
that stadium.
Anytime an opposing team came to Los Angeles, they took over that stadium. So big advantage for the Denver Broncos, and the reason that JK Dobbins ended up here in the Mile High City.
He left a couple out, though.
What were they?
Ownership. I mean, Greg Penner's, I don't know, 1 billion times better than anyone from the Spanos family.
Do you think he's had many interactions with Greg yet?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Greg's there all the time.
Okay.
Greg is there. I'm sure Greg did the handshake. Happy to have you here. If you have any questions, my door's always open. Like, Greg Penner is, he's hands-on without being, like, overbearing. Like, what are you doing now, Sean? What's over there, Sean? He's not like Sean.
Yeah, right.
How Sean Payton just generally is. He's grumpy today, like grumpy Sean. So yeah, he's talked to Greg Penner, and who knows if he ever talked to anybody from the Spanos family? Probably not. I mean, they don't care. There's another thing JK left out though. This is the best one.
What?
Culture. There's championship culture in Denver. What do they have in the Chargers choke? I'm so disappointed in Stink for picking the Chargers to win the AFC West. The Chargers choke. They are notorious choke artists. The Denver Broncos have a championship culture, and it is back. It is back thanks to Greg Penner. It is back thanks to Sean Payton, and it is back thanks to Bo Nix. So once he figures that out, and it won't take him very long, but the culture of winning, this isn't about the Chargers and, hey, you can produce a little bit, and everyone, okay, what are you? Okay, you're fine. You come to Denver, you better produce at the highest level. It's back, baby. That culture is back. That demand, that expectations to be one of the best teams in the NFL. You don't have that in Los Angeles.
Hell no.
In Denver, people are crazy for the Broncos. You crazy for the Chargers? Anybody crazy for the Chargers?
No.
In LA? Maybe San Diego.
And not even then. Why'd they move? They left there.
Because the Spanos family.
Yeah. But
Chasing them dollars.
If you're a San Diegan, is that what they call themselves?
San Diegan?
If a team leaves my city, I hate that team for the rest of their existence.
St. Louis fans
Exactly.
hate Stan Kroenke. Like, straight up hate Stan Kroenke. They go to St. Louis Battlehawks games, 30,000 strong.
Yeah. The Battlehawks. Tough break for St. Louis folks, because that's not the same product.
Yeah, you went from watching Kurt Warner to Jordan Ta'amu.
The fact that you know that name is very impressive. Nice work, Cecil Lammy. How about Sean Payton?
I watched the UFL. I'm sorry.
Don't they have the playoffs going on or something right now?
I don't know.
Okay. Sean Payton talked about JK Dobbins. Not quite sure of the running back roles, but what he sees in JK.
Look, I said it before. I said, and it was a week ago, another good football player. Another good football player. And we're interested in those guys. And so we'll see how it unfolds. No set roles yet. We feel like we know who the player is well.
All right, and he's going to say that. No set roles. I would imagine, and not like Sean Payton and George Payton, but Sean, Michael Lombardi, who kind of just hangs around.
Joe Lombardi,
excuse me. They probably have a pretty good idea of pecking order of what it's going to be. Because you and I have a pretty good idea of pecking order, and we're not around them nearly as much as those two dudes
Yeah,
are.
people around the league have the idea of the pecking order. The pecking order is Mark Ingram and Darren Sproles. It may not be Alvin Kamara this year. Now, you're hoping that R.J. Harvey turns into Alvin Kamara, and maybe he flashes in a similar manner. I believe, and Peyton has told this story. I'm sure George Payton loves hearing this story again. Hey, George, can I tell you the Alvin Kamara story again, George?
Yeah.
But, George, you didn't hear this part, George.
Yeah.
It's the best. Kamara's the best.
Yeah.
You know what they are? They're the old married couple of like, the one starts telling the story, and the other one gets up and leaves, and the friend's like, you don't want to hear this? Like, I've heard it. I'm going to go in the other room.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Enough, buddy. Kamara on his second carry, might have been his first carry in the preseason, had like a 75-yard touchdown. And that's when Sean, talk about the man parts working in the Cialis commercial, that's where Sean was like excited. I got him. And that's when Kamara like really, caught his eye even more so.
Okay.
So does Harvey do something like that? Yeah, maybe. But NFL people are saying this is Darren Sproles, not Alvin Kamara. So we'll see how that plays out. And Darren Sproles, Kev, thank you for the numbers and what he was able to do with Mark Ingram there. JK Dobbins clearly the Mark Ingram. But you look at Sproles in 2011 to 2013, 101 targets.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's going to get those.
101 targets.
It's average. Average.
Oh, that's per?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So RJ Harvey.
I thought you were combining the two.
No. RJ Harvey might be in line for 100 targets. Now, 77 receptions was the average for Darren Sproles. I projected RJ Harvey for 50 plus. Remember, Alvin Kamara had 81 receptions as a rookie. So Sproles' average was 77. I might be way low on projecting RJ Harvey receptions. If Darren Sproles averaged 77 receptions per season and Alvin Kamara had 81 as a rookie, Harvey might be a 75 catch guy. 75 catch guy means, okay, you're getting like 125 carries, 75 catches. Well, that's still 200 touches. So we'll see how the math plays out there.
Okay. It also gets to the point, this is a good problem to have. I like to call them rich people problems, and that's exactly what Greg Penner and his squad have in front of him now. We're getting to a point here, Cecil, where we go like, man, RJ can do this, JK can do this, Evan's going to do this, Cortland should do this, Pat Bryant might be able to do that, Marvin Mims does this. Is there not enough footballs to go around for all of this, or is this just Bo Nix like, hey, I'm no longer locking on 14 like I did a lot last year.
Yeah.
This is first progression. Whoever's wide open, that's where I'm going with the football.
It's that because Bo Nix's favorite target is the open guy, but it's also this. Sean designing stuff now. Would you ever design a play for Javonte Williams to get something in the open field? I mean, maybe like a screen, but who cares? That wasn't going anywhere. Right?
He was the check down guy.
Yeah. And now think of how Sean can be creative. Now on this play, Ingram's the first read. But on this play, RJ Harvey is actually the first read. But then the second read is Marvin on the play opposite field side. So look out for Marvin if RJ's covered. Imagine how creative Sean Payton can be. And if there's one thing Sean Payton wants to do, it's be grumpy and it's be creative. Mm-hmm. So he can be creative now because he has actual weapons that can do something with the ball.
All right. I can't wait to see it, man. I will say this. Staying on the offensive side, and I'm reading a tweet from Mike Kliss right now, who we're actually going to talk to, right? Today's Thursday, yeah. We're going to talk to him in an hour from right now. He says, or he's tweeting something about Devon Vele. Peyton said Devon Vele, who missed all 3 days of minicamp, will be a full go at the start of training camp. And that's all we've got so far.
Okay.
Does that, am I reading too into that to make it sound like, that sounds like he was dealing with something with his body, not an event. We kind of had teased or talked about that yesterday,
right? Based
off something that Philip Lindsay said about Garrett Bowles. But doesn't that, as Kliss put it, Peyton said Devon Vele, who missed all 3 days of minicamp, will be a full go at the start of training camp. Am I reading too much into that to think that's a body part?
Yeah, I think so. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens here.
Would he tell us if it were an injury?
No, God, no. He doesn't have to. It's not the regular season. All the degenerates out there, that's why they have an injury report in the NFL.
I mean, I guess it could also be, and we hope everything's fine. Obviously, body-wise, you hope it's okay. But also, it could be a family thing, a situation as well. I don't know.
It's best not to speculate, or it's best just to ask Kliss and let him speculate.
Okay.
And be like, I don't know. Mike Kliss said what had happened was,
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that at 1:15 then.
This sounds good.
See what Mike has to say. All right, I wanted to check in and hear a couple of things from Vance Joseph as well. So we talked about a cut from Sean Payton on Tuesday where he's like, hey, you're going to have the best defense. And he was like, well, I don't know. We're going to see. And you and I both went, is that him wondering who Vance Joseph is going to be in year number 2? Well, VJ talked about this year's defense and how it might stack up against last year's defense.
We had a great defense, right? And that was last year, and this year is totally different. And my entire cell this offseason has been, let's start over again, right? Let's keep improving, because last year counts, but it doesn't matter, moving forward, right? We have to continue to improve. We added some more pieces. We watched our cut-ups from the fall. We wasn't perfect in every area. Third downs, we got to get better. So it's lots of room for improvement. And every year it's different. We have a tough schedule, so I'm patiently waiting for the fall and just focusing on improving every week. And if it's right, we should be a good defense, but it's no guarantee, right? You have to go to work.
You have to go to work. I love how he ends that.
I like that.
And when I was watching VJ's presser last night, Cecil, I kept thinking about, man, everybody, you and I included, there's so much pressure on Vance Joseph. He has to know what position he's in. But that's not different than any other year for Vance Joseph. It kind of made me feel a little bit better last night of like, man, is that pressure going to get to VJ? Is he going to crack under pressure? Why? He deals with this every single year as a coach in the NFL level, be it head, offensive, defensive. You're on the hot seat. If you do not perform, you're going to get fired. So there's really no extra added pressure to Vance Joseph than there was a year ago. I think the fact that Jim Leonard's there with the promotion, that maybe makes you look over your shoulder a couple of extra times, but there's no added pressure on Vance Joseph. It's always the same amount of pressure.
If Vance Joseph didn't want pressure, he wouldn't work for Sean Payton.
Yeah.
I mean, one, Sean is that guy. He's difficult to work with. He's difficult to talk to sometimes. He's difficult to be around, I'm sure. But the pressure, VJ doesn't feel that pressure. He won't coach that way. He won't respond that way. And I think it's great, and it's a great sign for the Denver Broncos because the worst emotion that we always react to, because it's the reptilian part of our brain, is fear. You think Vance Joseph's afraid of losing his job? He doesn't want to.
Yeah.
But he doesn't operate out of fear. You think Vance Joseph is afraid of the pressure that's on because Sean Payton's his coach? No, not at all. So in those clips and just VJ's mannerisms from those clips, he knows what to do. It's time to go do it. It's time to, how did he finish that statement? It was like, time
to go to work.
Time to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Time to go to work. That's what it is. It's time to go to work. If you're going to be a problem, like when Sean Payton says we're going to be a problem, he's not just talking about his offense. He's talking about VJ's and that defense.
We're going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's one of my favorites from our buddy Sean Payton. We'll hear some more from VJ. In fact, coming up at 12:30, I want to hear VJ talk about Nick Benito. He says something interesting about Nick yesterday.